Hello everyone, here's your weather hazard briefing for Sunday, December 22nd. More rain and snow is on its way, and this will take us through at least Christmas Day. We do have another round coming through. This will be coming in a few hours and then be out of here later this afternoon into this evening. There is an even better chance later tonight, and this continues through at least Monday afternoon. And some of our passes, especially over in eastern areas, might see a little bit more of an impact travel-wise. Not a massive travel issue, but those passes could be slick at times over the next 24 to 36 hours. We get a little bit of a break, and then yet another round is coming Christmas Eve and into Christmas morning. And like I said, beyond that, we do have more rain and snow headed our way. Satellite shows our system from yesterday already exiting the area, but you can see quite a bit of moisture moving in. The initial wave of moisture today will come in across the south and east, and then we'll see better chance area-wide as this next wave works in later tonight into tomorrow. And on our weather risk outlook, we do have our passes listed here and some of our higher elevations. We might end up having to increase this to moderate or a little bit higher for tomorrow, depending on how the trends on the snow over in the southeast and eastern highlands continue. But just general rain and snow off and on. It's not going to be raining or snowing every second of every day, but it is in there. And it looks like, honestly, the most impacts area-wide right now may hold off until the day after Christmas. We'll have to watch those trends over the next couple of days. So how are things going for the next 24 or 36 hours or so? A little bit of light sprinkles, light flurries expected this morning coming in from the south and west. But as we go through the morning, we'll see that potential kicking up, especially south and east of the 84, 86, 15 corridors and going into this afternoon. That round doesn't last very long, you'll notice. Maybe hanging into the Tetons through this evening, but you already see the next round, especially closer to midnight, entering the western portions of Idaho, moving into our area. And then as we go through the day tomorrow, it quickly shifts to east of I-15 over into the eastern highlands, and then basically into western Wyoming for later on in the day and mainly into the evening hours. So looking at things, we're going to take things a little bit more closely through to some different periods here through tomorrow afternoon. So looking at the South Hills into the southeast corner, very light snow for the higher elevations, generally maybe just a dusting. A couple of spots may see a half an inch or so for later on this morning. And this is if we get some heavier little bursts of snow coming through with this round. This round will be fairly light across the board. Maybe an inch over into the Tetons later on this morning, and some light snow up around north of Salmon up towards Lost Trail Pass along the Montana border. Going into this afternoon, we kind of start to see things thin out to the west. A little bit heavier potential for snow over the Bear River Range, a couple of inches, especially over Immigration Summit. Also heading up towards the Big Holes, we'll see a little better chance of snow, maybe an inch or two. Like I said, some of this may be more dependent on some heavier little quick bursts of snow, and that continues over into the Tetons for this afternoon. Temperature-wise, today, most of us will be above freezing, still hanging on a little bit less mixing up in the upper part of the Snake Plain today, but otherwise, plenty of 40s once you get to Pocatello to the south and to the west, closer to 50 once you get over towards Twin Falls and into the Treasure Valley. Continuing on with that snow forecast, not much going on in and around Galena Summit, that area this evening. Just some lighter snow, maybe a little bit over an inch possible across portions of the Bear River Range and on up into the Big Holes, and that trend continues over into the Tetons, where an inch or two is certainly possible. And again, not much in the central mountains for this evening. Going into the overnight hours, that's when we'll see things starting to pick up in the west. An inch or two around Galena Summit and the spine of the Sawtooth picking up a little bit more snow, light snow over the southeast corner, and maybe eking out an inch on a couple of the higher peaks of the Big Holes into the Tetons, and similar conditions up once you get towards Willow Creek Summit up towards Lost Trail Pass. And that is for the overnight hours. Now, tomorrow morning, the snow picks up again in the central mountains. We're looking at maybe 2 to 4 inches and a few of the higher peaks on the spine of the Sawtooth, a couple inches around Galena Summit. an inch or two into the Bear River Range, and also several inches of snow in the higher elevations of the Big Holes and into the Tetons as well. This is also a little better chance across the upper Snake Plain, also into the Island Park area, where a couple of inches of snow down lower possible, higher once you get into areas adjacent to the Tetons, and some light snow over the higher elevations of the rest of the Central Mountains, and a couple of inches could make it a little interesting driving over Lost Trail Pass overnight tonight into tomorrow morning. And tomorrow afternoon, we start to thin things out again. Some snow accumulations continuing over around the Bear River Range and continuing into the Tetons as well, and some lingering light snow elsewhere, including up into the lower elevations of Island Park. If you take this and melt it all out, or where some areas where it's going to be rain, not a lot going on just because of the shadowing effect over a good chunk of the Snake Plain into the Central Mountains, the lower elevations. But still, like I said, some of these areas could see some very light snow in the valleys for tomorrow morning. The bulk of it in the spine of the Sawtooth, and certainly up towards Lost Trail Pass along the Montana border and over into the Tetons as well. Well, some of those areas could see around an inch of liquid equivalent, basically taking that snow and melting it down, if not a little bit more in a couple of spots there. Going into those temperatures for tomorrow morning, you'll notice it remains at or above freezing, basically from Idaho Falls south and west in towards the Magic Valley, the Treasure Valley, where some areas will still be closer to 40 degrees tomorrow morning. And temperatures warming up a little bit, a good chunk of us staying above freezing unless you're in the higher elevations. So any snow that falls in the lowest elevations will probably melt pretty quickly if we can get it to even accumulate tomorrow. And again, near 50 once you get over to Burley, Twin Falls, and into the Treasure Valley. And for Christmas Eve, those temperatures drop off a little bit across the board, maybe a little bit warmer where we can keep some mixing going over the Snake Plain as we go on to Christmas Eve during the afternoon. And for Christmas Day and for Christmas morning, temperatures in the 20s and 30s. Pretty chilly up in some of the colder spots where we'll be in the single digits and teens. You'll notice pretty cool across the board. You may not get above 40 unless you get down towards Malta, or Malta, those areas. Also over towards Twin Falls and Glens Ferry. And looking at that storm, at least the totals for that storm so far, Christmas Eve and Christmas, part of that period, Christmas Day, not much going on, not as heavy as this particular next round coming through. But again, we'll watch those trends. This is the little better chance area-wide in the lower elevations of the Snake Plain, the Magic Valley, to get just some very light snow going. Otherwise, a lot of the higher elevations looking at about 2 to 6 inches, a little higher across the Bear River Range over towards Palmerell, and also across the spine of the Sawtooth and some of the higher peaks across the rest of the Central Mountains. So once again, going into Friday, we'll skip Thursday going into Friday. Temperatures, again, you're not seeing a whole lot of change over the next few days during that period. It stays kind of coolish in some areas, right just above freezing in others, the typical trend we've seen over the past few days. So once again, we've got this little round of rain and snow coming through this afternoon into the early evening. That's quickly gone. This next round tonight and tomorrow has some potential travel impacts, especially over the higher elevations like Pine Creek Pass, Teton Pass, Immigration Summit, some of those places. And then we get a break, and then the next round coming in for Christmas Eve and early Christmas morning, and again beyond that as well. Have a great Sunday, and do stay safe out there, everyone.